there's no place like home for the holidays. And no matter how far away you roam, if you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can.
Welcome back, listeners, to another Horror for the Holidays stocking stuffer. I'm Jay Logsden.
I'm Jeff Searcy.
And this is our kind of loosey-goosey format where we kind of do whatever, but try to kind of stick around the Christmas horror kind of vibe.
We do what we want.
Yeah, we'll I'm sure we'll go off the rails at some point.
If you like horror for the holidays with its rigid structure and focus on Christmas horror, beware.
As Jeff was saying, with our rigid structure and focus on holiday-themed horror, we're going to talk about the other sequel to Silent Night, Deadly Night, the first movie.
Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, The Curse of Billy Caldwell.
I guess 6? 5 would be the Toymaker.
No, this is a reference to Halloween 5, The Curse of Michael Myers.
Wasn't that Halloween 6?
Was it?
I think that's Halloween 6.
Oh, okay.
That's the one with the Thorn Rune and Paul Rudd.
Yeah, you might be right.
I only know that because I think that's my favorite Halloween movie. That's not Halloween 3.
I think 5 is the one where he cries. Maybe that's the revenge of Michael Myers.
Oh man, who knows? Yeah, Curse is 6. I think that's the one with the Thorn Rune. Jeff's gonna look it up.
Let's see which one of these Halloween movies we're talking about.
So 3's my favorite, but 6 is the one that I've seen the most.
Ah, okay.
It and Nightmare on Elm Street 2 aired a ton on Encore when I was in high school. So my first experience to the Halloween franchise, when I was actually watching these movies late at night, was Halloween 6 and Nightmare on Elm Street 2. What a choice of movies. Yes,
number 5 is The Revenge of Michael Myers, which is where he cries and his spirit passes into a little girl that's never resolved. And then he just returns like nothing happened. In Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers.
Well, that little girl gives birth to which is his sister cousin, gives birth to his nephew's son.
Sure. Yeah, sure. If you want to try and piece together this lore, go ahead.
And Paul Rudd's there and can do magic, maybe?
Yeah, number 6, Paul Rudd can definitely do magic.
Oh, man. Classic Paul Rudd doing magic. All right, well, back to... So this was a... we're going to cover the Silent Night, Deadly Night comics up to this point. So February of 2024 came out through American Mythology. There was a 4-issue run that came out at the end of 2022 and beginning of 2023, and then a single issue called Killer Santa that came out at Christmas of 2023. And so we're just going to kind of go through. We both read all the comics. We're going to kind of give a overview of the issues and then kind of talk about things that struck our fancy and all that stuff. And then at the end we'll kind of talk about if we give these a recommendation or not. So we'll start with issue 1 of the Silent Night, Deadly Night. I think that was just the name of the series.
Yep. If you don't like this, it was all Jay's idea and his fault.
And so the idea of this was, I believe it was the 2 producers of the original movie, Scott Schneid and Dennis Whitehead, basically were like, okay, what if we made our own sequel to Silent Night, Deadly Night? I don't know if this was their direct idea or if they kind of licensed out the whole idea. Hopefully this is more the writer taking liberties. And kind of doing their own thing.
I was going to say, it's hard to say, honestly.
Because this comic kind of goes off the rails.
I mean, this seems like the kind of, if Silent Night, Deadly Night had been a franchise, this does seem like a movie that would have appeared in the franchise at some point.
No, and like you said, it is kind of Halloween 6.
Yes, it has heavy. Well, it's got all kinds of Michael Myers vibes in here, but we'll get to it.
Yeah. So published by American Mythology. They also do a yearly comic thing called Scary Christmas. Jeff and I might talk about those at some point.
Well, I mean, there's a comic book on the back of this first issue that I'm way more interested in reading, Jay. Monster Tag Team, Dracula vs. Werewolf.
Written by James Korick and S.A. Czech. Art by Huis Calzada. Colors by Emmanuel Ordoz. Letters by Fabrizio Grier. And then, like I said, there's special thanks to Scott Schneed and Dennis Whitehead for, allowing this to be made. So we start off, we now have a name for the town that Silent Night, Deadly Night took place in.
Yes,
Eggnog, Utah. Where they apparently have a massive Christmas market. And I find that very strange. You would think a town where a guy who went on a crazy killing spree dressed as Santa Claus would not continue to celebrate Christmas.
Well, Jay, it's just, you got to have a giant Christmas market so a lady can be a bitch to a Santa.
Yep, a lady like tells Santa to cram it up his cram hole as he's like asking her for money, ringing his bell. We see like something kind of happen to the Santa off, kind of off panel.
Yep.
As the lady continues like talking on her phone.
Well, Jay, she did give his liver an extra hour of life.
And then we see our killer Santa appear, wreathed in shadow, wielding a knife, and he slits her throat in front of some onlookers.
My favorite part was when she called the kids shit stains when they bumped into her.
And in the wreathed in shadow, it does look a lot like Billy, so it is kind of a neat little look.
Yeah. No, they did a good job.
We are introduced to Parker, who was a kid who grew up in the orphanage.
Now a horror author.
Yep, alongside Billy and Ricky. He wrote a book about the events that happened that night, and the cover of the book is the original poster for the movie with Santa coming out of the chimney with the axe.
Now, Jay, we get to our first point. So these flashbacks are in this a sepia tone, but apparently everything at the orphanage is going to be in that tone,
right?
Flashback or not,
it makes it really weird. I made it 3 issues before I realized that the sepia toned images at the orphanage were actually, some of them were happening concurrently with the rest of the story. And we're not flashbacks.
Also, Parker, the way he reacts to the Santa walking down the street, I don't know if I'll show you the panel just so you can see it. It seems like a really over-the-top reaction considering that Billy really never did anything to anybody at the orphanage.
Right.
I mean, he just got shot in the orphanage.
No, he sees a Santa and it's very similar to Ricky's reaction in Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
It's like, okay, yeah, you saw the guy get shot, but it's not like he killed anybody in front of you.
Parker stops by the newly reopened Iris Toys and visits another one of the former residents of the orphanage, UB, Unclean Brian. What a weird choice.
I was going to say, that was, I don't know.
Is there like, this has to be like an inside joke with like the writer or something.
I was going to say, first of all, you can't have, why would the nuns nickname him Unclean Brian?
Right.
Second of all, why would he continue to use that nickname into adulthood?
Oh, you know me. I'm Unclean Brian.
I'm old UB. You know me. Oh, and guess what, Parker, you dirty dog? Prudence is still kicking around here.
Yep, Parker's looking for Prudence, who...
Remember her from the flashback on the last panel, Jay, when he's holding her hand?
No, I don't. But, also, one thing to point out, when he walks into Iris Toys, there's some lettering at the bottom for some music playing on the radio, and it's Warm Side of the Door.
On the warm side of the door.
I was like, someone clearly did their research.
I was going to say, somebody watched Silent Night, Deadly Night at least once.
Ricky and his family are also visiting town to visit Billy.
Boo. This version of Ricky sucks.
I can't tell if he's supposed to be like modeled off of Eric Freeman, because like when we do see the flashbacks to Billy, it does very clearly look like Robert Brian Wilson. But the guy who is Ricky looks not like other than the brown hair and like kind of the haircut, doesn't look like Eric Freeman that much at all.
Well, you see, this should make you appreciate Eric Freeman's performance even more, because this is the Ricky we could have gotten.
Yep. Not raising his eyebrows and
I hope nobody hurts my family.
Yeah. Instead we got good Ricky.
Yeah.
We're going to call him GR. That implies that this Ricky is BR.
Yeah.
Ricky and his wife have to discuss. They go and they visit Billy in the mental hospital.
It's just basically a thinly veiled reference to them going to visit the grandpa.
Yeah, and so Ricky's daughter is left alone with Billy, and she I think she taunts him a little bit, and then he kind of like sits up. He's been kind of catatonic for years. He kind of sits up and he says, "Punish," and like chases her out of the room.
Jay, you missed a very, very important thing while you were talking about that. Somebody got hit in the dick with a snowball.
Oh yeah, there was a sepia toned thing that once again Jeff and I assumed was a flashback,
But is actually happening in real time.
where a kid that in my notes I thought was Parker up until issue 3, but we will actually learn his name's Stewie. Gets hit in the dick and the face with snowballs at the same time.
Don't forget that Parker met Vegas too. This important character, Vegas, Jay.
Who's like UB's
He's protege.
Helps UB run the Ira's toys.
He adopted him, Jay, and he's totally not doing anything weird to him.
There is certainly an implication that he is doing something weird to him. But yeah, this kid Stewie gets hit in the face with a snowball that has a dog turd in it. At least I hope it was a dog turd.
But can we talk about Billy looks just like Santa Claus now?
He does. He's got like this long white hair, long white beard, this gnarly scar across his face.
He's gained like 100 pounds.
And so he tries to kill himself with a strand of Christmas lights, a la Andy in the original Silent Night, Deadly Night. Mm-hmm. And when he tries to when he tries to hang himself, the rope breaks, and suddenly his eyes are black, and we get the words "punish" emanating from his mouth.
Well, and there was also another murder in between those things.
Oh yeah, I was gonna get to that.
Doing things out of order.
Yeah, I was doing my notes kind of jumped around for those early issues. Also, once again, the kid I thought was Parker, but turns out to be Stewie because of the weird sepia tone on these issues. Yeah. They like go and gather around a Christmas tree and sing the lyrics to the Santa's Watching song from the original movie, although they are out of order, I believe.
Yes.
They say Santa's waiting, Santa's watching, and I think it's supposed to be the other way around.
They also drag him out of bed at knife point and say they're going to cut his balls off if he doesn't come with them and do what they say.
And then so they basically like cut his hand open and like make him do like a blood oath to some Christmas deity.
We need the blood of a virgin, Jay.
That causes like all the bulbs in the Christmas tree to shatter or something.
I guess it's summoning. I don't know what it's summoning, Jay. It looks to me in my mind's eye as if a Krampus were joined with a man.
Some kind of Krampus. No, those only exist in a Christmas horror story. They can't exist here.
Exactly.
But yeah, as Jeff mentioned, there's the killer Santa strikes again, killing a young couple that's trying to get it on in the back of their car. Mm-hmm. The killer Santa like buries a hatchet in the dude's head and then chases the girl.
Yeah,
and
he murders her in front of a bunch of Christmas carolers.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the end of issue 1. Any other thoughts before we move on to issue 2?
Yeah, the lady he's having sex with in the car says, "Do you want me or do you want warm balls?" And I'm like, why can't we have both?
There's some very strange dialogue.
The dialogue in this makes absolutely no sense at some points, and it does not. That's one of the things I hate about some comics is the dialogue feels completely off of like what a real person would say, and this is one of those.
The back matter of issue 1 does have an interview with the two producers.
Yes.
Just kind of talking about things, and there is mentioned. I think they mentioned the reboot sequel that has been kind of talked about for a couple years.
Been kicked around forever.
And then they also mention maybe a soundtrack coming out. They might be licensing out a soundtrack, so maybe keep an eye on like Waxwork Productions or something like that if you want a vinyl copy of Santa's Watching. As Jeff opens issue 2 from his poly bag.
Here we go. Yes, I read them digitally.
Issue 2, the police have found the body of the man in the car from issue 1. We're introduced to Prudence, a girl from the orphanage who is now a detective.
In an actual flashback this time, Jay.
Yep.
Which is hard to tell, again, because they're all the same color. But yeah, basically they meet Parker or whatever.
Yep, she meets up with Parker, and one of the guys, like one of the police detectives, is like, "You never greet me like that, Prudence."
Yeah. Apparently, Prudence is supposed to be the hot one in this one, Jay.
Billy escapes from the hospital, killing 2 orderlies along the way, along with a nurse and a security officer. Probably the best kill of this was shocking the security guard with the defibrillator paddles.
Blowing up his head with the defibrillator. Well, and we get the Ricky. Ricky's at home. He hates Christmas. It's giving him a headache. Christmas shit's giving me a headache, Jay.
Yep. Oh, how about you go talk to your therapist? And then, like, it almost sets him off, and he goes to attack his wife, and then he flees the...
Oh, I wondered if this was a reference to Halloween as well, because his therapist is Dr. Donald.
Oh,
they're
100%.
Donald
Yeah. 100% is a reference.
Can we get any more? Can we get any more Michael Myers? I mean, Billy's got to go full Michael Myers in this issue.
Let's see. Billy goes. Ricky finds flees his home, screaming, "I'm not you!" after he attacks his wife with a knife.
It's because he's getting flashes of Billy in his head.
Yeah, Billy's telling him to
Punisher,
do it.
Punisher.
UB is having a wildly debaucherous Christmas party at Ira's Toys.
Well, I've never seen that before, Jay.
There's like animatronics of like 2 elves fucking, and like...
Oh, I wanted to... During the fight with the orderlies, Billy gets tased, and it has seemingly no effect on him. It's revealing some of his Michael Myers-ness.
Yeah, as his eyes like are now pitch black all the time.
Yeah, he sees a reflection of himself, and he looks suspiciously Krampus-like in the mirror.
And they go to Prudence. Well, after they leave UB's, or after they leave Ira's and UB's party, Prudence and Parker go to investigate Billy's escape. While they're there, Billy goes to Golden Times Rest Haven, where he kills Jimmy Florence, who we learn in a flashback it was probably the guy who killed Billy's parents.
Probably.
Like it makes it weirder because like what we learn in a later issue, but also they might not tie into each other. They might be different takes on the same thing.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're probably different takes because they don't really line up. But make a long story short, at the retirement home, Billy obliterates a mouthy old man's face. And when I say that,
punches
I
his
mean,
face
he
off.
Literally obliterates his face. Like, it just is floating eyeballs in the panel.
It's great.
When I read that, I was like, was that like an art error? Or no, it's actually what he did.
Also, Jimmy steals money from another patient, which I think might be a reference to the 2012 Silent Night, Deadly Night kind of remake. There's like a shitty grandson that steals like $20 from his grandpa's wallet in the nursing home.
There's also another reference, because they're supposed to be hinting that maybe it's the guy who killed his parents or whatever. There's yet another version of the story because there's the one in Silent Night, Deadly Night, the version in Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. And now we have a third version of how it happened.
And then we'll get a 4th version here after when we talk about another issue.
Killer Santa issue.
In a flash, well, once again, I thought it was a flashback, but it turns out it's Stewie. Parker's eyes also get turned black, and he gets like immense strength as he overpowers like this punk kid who like is real shitty to him at the orphanage.
Don't beat me up again, or I'll kill you because I'm a were-Krampus, maybe.
And so that's kind of the end of issue 2. I think. Did I miss anything?
Super important character Vegas, Jay. He's in the office watching the security cameras, which is going to be important later. He's not allowed out of the office because he's not an adult yet, so he can't be at the debaucherous Christmas party.
Yeah, he can't be at the crazy Christmas party.
Which would make more sense to just send him home, but whatever. We also get a little bit of backstory from Prudence and Parker that Billy's been in the retirement home / mental institution, whatever you want to call it, for 10 years.
No, he's been there. They like transferred him there, and he'd been like an ideal patient.
Yes, he'd been Michael Myers basically. He was quiet, basically catatonic or whatever, until he decided to act again. Something triggered something in him, Jay, to punish, and now he's back awake.
Now he's back punishing the naughty. Naughtying the punished.
But yeah, Billy steals one of the only other important things at the end is Billy steals the axe and the Santa suit he's gonna need for later.
Yep. So yeah, that's issue 2. Issue 3 starts off. And in the back matter, there is a Silent Night, Deadly Night quiz. I don't know if you took the quiz, Jeff.
I did not take the quiz.
I got 9 out of 10 right.
Oh, well, do you want me to take the quiz, Jay?
Sure, if you want to take the quiz.
As I say, you want to give me the quiz?
All right.
We'll stop real quick and do this quiz.
All right, here we go.
I know much less about this than Jay does, so I may not do
I think you stand a good chance of getting 9 out of 10 right. Silent Night, Deadly Night was released in 1984. What other famous horror movie was opened that very same weekend?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Correct. What was Silent Night, Deadly Night's original title? A. Sleigh Ride. B. Deck the Halls and Grab Your Bulbs. C. Deadly Wrappings. D. Happy Horror Days. I'll give you a hint. It's the name of the production company on the original movie, I believe. If you remember that.
I do not remember that.
Okay.
I'll say Happy Horror Days. I don't know.
It's a good guess. It's Sleigh Ride.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, I do remember that logo.
The location of Ira's Toys. This is the one I got wrong. The location of Ira's Toys was an actual building, which was later converted for use as a candy store, B, income tax preparation, C, massage parlor, D, gym.
Well, to be cosmically funny, I'll say the candy store.
That would be funny. The gym, apparently. For music played at a fun part in the movie, name one of the original songs from the film. A, Walking in a Winter Slaughterland. B, Candy Cane Killings. C, Warm Side of the Door. Or D, Cocoa and Cleavers.
Gonna have to go Warm Side of the Door, Jay.
On the warm side of the door.
Because all these movies need a weird original sound.
The original movie poster showed a man dressed as Santa coming down the chimney carrying an A, axe, B, bag of chainsaws, C, butcher knife, D, shotgun.
I gotta go with bag of chainsaws. No, axe.
Yep. What type of store did the man rob before killing Billy's mother and father when he was a child? A bakery.
It's a gas station, isn't it?
B, a grocery store. C, a liquor store. D, frozen yogurt.
I'm going to go liquor store, even though I'm pretty sure it had gas pumps.
I'm pretty sure it had gas pumps as well, yeah. It's a liquor store. The setting for the film and comic series is in the state of A, Utah, B, Alaska, C, Hawaii, or D, Pennsylvania.
We know it's Utah because we referenced that heavily when we did the review.
And then in the comic book series, the character of UB stands for
Unclean Brian.
Unclean Brian.
Which still makes no sense to me.
So I think you got 6 out of 8. Someone's been on the nice list. Maybe we should check it twice.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, that's issue 2. Issue 3 starts off with a Santa invading a home through a window. Turns out it's the ex-husband of the lady who owns the house.
As I say, you see a hot silhouette, Jay.
Of a lady taking a shower.
A nude woman.
And it's the the reminiscent of the scene in the original where the cops go to pull over the wrong Santa.
We get a little bit of foreshadowing, too, of something that's going to happen later with the snowman with his arms at that angle.
Yep.
We'll see another snowman made later on.
We get another so this is the point where I realized these weren't flashbacks; they were things actually happening concurrently. Where Stewie and like the kind of the things that have been happening at the orphanage. He's mad. He's like breaks some tile with a punch.
One thing I remember from that sequence is he said, "It feels like there's something heavy inside me, sister." And I was like, "Me too, buddy. Me too."
Maybe he has to go take a dump. They're worried that Billy is on his way to the orphanage.
Oh no!
Heads up, he is.
I know the kid he beat up. It's like, holy shit, Billy Chapman's on the way to the orphanage.
Parker and Prudence find Mother Superior's grave defiled. There was a large angel as the headstone, and the angel has been decapitated. They then race back to Ira's because they're like, well, he okay, this is Mother Superior. Where would he go next? Ira's Toys.
I wanted to know, when I was reading this, I thought maybe I'd missed something, like an interaction between Prudence and Parker, but I was like, no, I didn't miss anything. Why does she look so fucking pissed off, Jay?
I have no idea.
And she's like, Ira's toy store, and she looks like she's gonna strangle him or something.
At the party at Ira's, Billy kills a couple that were getting ready to fuck, chopping off the dude's hands and then crushing his skull under his boot. Great kill.
Well, in between those two things, Jay, was when the news comes out over the radio and people hassle Ricky.
Oh, yeah.
Because they know he's Billy's brother. And then he goes crazy, smashes them up, and steals a gun.
Yeah, he steals a gun and basically cuts two guys like multiple times with a broken beer stein. Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not gonna let you down this time, brother. Hulk Hogan's here apparently.
And then so he cuts off the dude's hands and then snaps the topless lady's neck.
Oh, I got a line you can use, Jay, from that exchange between that Santa and that woman. Come here, my sweet little candy cane.
So back at the party, Prudence and Parker arrive as Billy decapitates a woman, just trying to hit on Billy, oh, you're a pretty sexy looking Santa.
Yeah. No, when Billy kills the Santa in the back, and he's like, what, you want the Coke? Just take it.
UB seals all the doors and windows a la Halloween 2018, where Jamie Lee Curtis trapped Michael in the house with her.
Yes.
And so that's kind of what that reminded me of. He seals all the, and he's basically I've been waiting for this, Billy. And he blasts Billy with his shotgun, and then admits to doing the two killings earlier in the story before Billy escaped.
To draw Billy out.
Yep.
I gotta draw him out by murdering people. I wanted to make a quick note about the censorship, Jay, I've been experiencing in the digital landscape. So there's this point in the comic where you see this lady's tits here.
Right.
And in the digital version, they were blurred.
Oh man,
blurred, Jay.
That's why physical media is so important.
Exactly.
So you can see poorly drawn breasts in a comic book.
I mean, shockingly poorly drawn. I mean, a lot of the art in these books is great, but this, what is this, Jay? Female breasts do not appear as such.
I think my favorite thing is the strange looking nipples.
Yes,
that's what caught my eye.
Also, adding more fuel to the Billy is now Michael Myers thing. He stomps a guy's head with his boot and it literally disintegrates.
Yep. Billy gets up after getting blasted with the shotgun and throws his axe, barely missing, I think, either Parker or Prudence.
Both, pretty much.
And hitting a helium tank that was filling balloons, causing a massive explosion at Ira's Toys.
Indeed.
And that's the end of issue 3.
I do like that they made another reference to Silent Night, Deadly Night when UB says "fuck off, Santa" when he blasts him with the shotgun.
And that's what it gave me. It gave me
"fuck off, Doc."
Fuck off, Doc.
But yes, that also was weird that he just admitted to doing the other crimes, and it's
it was so strange.
You could have just kept that under your hat, UB.
I was waiting for it to be Ricky. I was really expecting oh no, Ricky's been going around killing people, trying to kind of make up for for not helping his brother.
He thinks he failed
Billy
or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
or has split personalities now or something. I would have done something like that. Having UB just kill people was weird.
That would be a good way too to actually have a tie-in to the original Silent Night, Deadly Night sequel, where Ricky takes over basically.
Yep. Yeah, instead we don't really get that at all. So now we move on to issue 4.
Here we go.
We basically see it starts off with a burnt down Ira's Toys as victims are being carted away. There's an offhanded comment where Prudence and Parker are oh, I can't believe UB admitted to doing those murders.
Yes, I know. In case no one's read the last issue, UB killed everybody.
Meanwhile, Ricky arrives at the back of the of Ira's right as the explosion happened, and a guy came out, I think, to try and stop Billy. And Ricky kills him. No,
all he did was he was like, "Oh shit, are you guys okay?" And Ricky shoots him, and he's like, "We don't need any help."
And they escape the scene, and then basically Prudence and Parker are "Well, what would happen next?" And then they're like, oh, "The orphanage."
Well, while that's going on at Ira's Toys, Stewie has completely freaked out and turned into a shadow demon.
Yep.
And starts ripping people up.
He's got like jagged teeth and claws now.
He's gaining the same like were Krampus look, and he's going like punish and naughty like Billy does.
And then one of the punk kid goes, "I wazzed myself."
Mm-hmm. Well, he goes, "I wazzed myself," and then he breaks like Stewie's face with a broom handle. It's like, run.
There's a big yellow stain on the front of his pants.
Yep.
Which I think are jeans. I don't think jeans have yellow stains when you pee, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, Jay. Billy gets filled full of bullets again, but it still does nothing to him.
Yep. Yeah. He kills 2 police officers trying to get into the orphanage. I think also kind of reminiscent of the original.
Yeah. So he does another Michael Myers lay on the ground, wait till they get close, and break their neck move.
Billy then makes his way into the orphanage, but has now transformed into a were-Krampus.
Well, he transforms into a were-Krampus, Jay, when he sees a picture of Mother Superior.
Okay.
On the wall. Apparently that triggers a full were-Krampusing.
Parker and Prudence arrive. They try to stop him. They get attacked by Stewie as the little shadow demon guy.
My favorite panel of Stewie attacking, die, bitch. Which is honestly what I was hoping would happen to Prudence at this point too.
The new Mother Superior, the new nun at the orphanage, is trying to talk to Billy. Basically like, I know who you are. Sister Margaret, told me about you, and then he like throws this nun through a window, and we see Sister Margaret's body.
He's posed in the same kind of snowman pose we saw a couple issues ago.
Yeah. Which was just great. I thought that was, but also it feels like did they get Sister Margaret and Mother Superior confused?
I think they did
because Sister Margaret was nice and liked Billy. Like, that was kind of a weird one.
Yeah.
Is then where did he get Sister Margaret's body? Because he defiled Mother Superior's grave. Those are 2 different people.
Well, Jay, in this universe, they're actually the same person.
This is then when Ira of Ira's Toys is revealed to us as some kind of wizard who has orchestrated all these events to turn Billy into a were-Krampus.
Yes, you see, Jay, Ira was a wizard who wanted a were-Krampus servant, so he's been manipulating Billy his entire life to bring him to this moment.
And has melts Ricky's gun with his hands.
Yes, he can melt a gun by touching it. He shoots lightning out of his cane.
He opens a portal that sucks.
He's a fully powerful wizard, which raises the question of why he would need a were-Krampus in the first place.
Right, it's so strange.
This is where shit goes off the rails, Jay. I mean, it was already iffy with Billy basically becoming Michael Myers, but this shit was over the top.
And so then Ricky tries to help Billy, and Ira stabs him through the chest. Mm-hmm. And so then Billy fights Ira and drags him through the portal.
Yes.
The portal closes behind them, and it basically ends with Parker and Prudence and all the kids in the orphanage being like, "Is he gone? Are we safe?" And it's like, well, we might be safe, but the world's in trouble. Or Billy is the world's problem now, or something like that.
And was this comic book written originally in English, Jay?
I would assume so. I don't know.
Because there's this reference here, this line. Ira's opening a second portal, or trying to, before Billy shoves him through it. And he's like, "You fools dare to interfere with my work. Now you pay extra." It's that doesn't seem like English to me. It seems like a bad translation.
I mean, it might be, but I assume it was originally in English, but yeah, hard to say.
With the awkwardness of the writing in this, it wouldn't surprise me if this is just the way it was written originally. But yeah, somebody yelling, "Now you pay extra."
All it needs is a will in there.
Yeah, something to fix the grammar. I don't know.
But yeah, what's that last line that Parker or Prudence says in the last panel?
Oh, Jay, don't make me say it. Is it over? Did we win? I don't know. I just got a feeling Billy's is more than Eggnog's problem now. It's oh yeah, so great resolution to the comics there.
Yeah, we have no idea what happened to were-Krampus Billy, or to Ira the wizard.
Why Ira is a wizard, why this happened this way in the first place. Why are you taking one of the worst things that everybody makes fun of about Michael Myers and making that Billy's arc?
It's just so strange.
I mean, yeah, you know, wildly popular thing, Jay, the Thorn Curse, explaining why Michael Myers always comes back.
only a handful of people genuinely like Halloween 6. Yeah, let's follow that one.
I mean, even people that like Halloween 6 still think it's stupid.
But yeah, general thoughts on the whole thing. I thought the art was pretty good.
The art's cool. The kills are cool. I mean, it's stuff that Billy probably couldn't do without being the supernatural entity or whatever he's turning into in this.
I think I would have fixed the the sepia tone on those scenes at the orphanage.
Yes. If they're flashbacks, that's okay. But if they're not flashbacks, they should really just be the same color as the rest of the comic.
Or I don't know, find a way to kind of divert, to let us know this is a different thing. When it doesn't make sense until issue 3. Maybe the people who are reading this week to week, when it came out, understood what was going on. I was sitting there completely baffled.
I can't see how you would, honestly, because there's no way to really know until you get that realization that Stewie is a kid right now.
Because I thought that was Parker, and maybe it's about something he experienced in the orphanage back when he was a kid.
But I mean, honestly, they could have made this a lot more cohesive by just making issue 2 or 3 just about the orphanage.
Yep.
And just about Stewie's arc, and just have him go through his whole arc, and just have him reappear in the 4th one. And then you could have just had him interact with Billy like they planned or whatever, and that could have been that.
Yeah, that might have made it. That would have certainly made it a lot easier.
Because then you wouldn't have to worry about what's a flashback and what's not and all that. It's like, just go through Stewie's entire story in one issue.
Also, the thing you said, why would you go by the nickname Unclean Brian?
Yes,
that's such a dumb choice.
Unclean Brian is so... It's just... Again, that makes me think it's not English. Because it's Dirty Brian even would be a better nickname than that.
Yeah, no, Dirty Brian seems like more of an American thing to call someone.
See, because Dirty Brian, the nuns could have called him Dirty Brian because he was actually dirty as a kid, and then he kept the nickname as an adult because he's I'm Dirty Brian, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm groping all these women
at the toy store.
He's I'm whipping all... see, that could have been better too. Run a toy store, but it's an adult toy store.
Yep.
I'm Dirty Brian.
That's the thing too, is unclean, I could see a nun referring to someone as unclean,
but in a spiritual sense.
Yeah, but if Brian was dirty, perverted, I feel like they'd be more impure Brian.
Yeah, exactly. No, unclean Brian sounds like he has, in their view, he has something spiritually wrong with him. Because generally when they reference uncleanness in the Catholic Church, they say someone is unclean, they mean spiritually.
Oh, but yeah, that was...
Which, I guess you could say is foreshadowing because he is a murderer, but, not really.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense still.
But yeah, that was the first 4 issues. I don't know if they're collected anywhere. You'd have to contact American Mythology to find
as
that
far
out.
as I know, they have not been collected, which tells me maybe there's going to be more of these, but honestly, I don't know where you go from here. Unless you're just going to completely... I mean, even at this point, by issue 4, this is just a thing that's bearing the name Silent Night, Deadly Night. It really doesn't have anything... It's basically like the sequels of Silent Night, Deadly Night after the second one. It really has nothing to do with Billy Chapman.
No, that's the thing is we're going to touch on another comic that it's called Naughty Santa?
Killer Santa.
Silent Night, Deadly Night, Killer Santa came out in December of 2023, and that makes it more of an anthology because it's a different take on the Killer Santa than what we got in these comics.
Yeah.
And so I guess if they continue to do anthology stories with just different takes on the Silent Night, Deadly Night universe, maybe that would work. We have to see what they do with it. As far as these 4 issues here, I don't know that I would recommend it to a Silent Night, Deadly Night fan unless you're prepared for an alternate take on what Billy should be. I think I'm right there with you. I would give these I don't think I would give these a full on recommendation to just about anybody, but I would give it a qualified recommendation of no, this is someone's thoughts. This is kind of a weird take on the whole Silent Night, Deadly Night universe, and just be prepared for it to not match up with maybe what you're expecting. But it is certainly part of the mythos at this point.
Well, and I think even with all the weird stuff that happened, I could have accepted it more if the story was a little stronger. Mm-hmm. But it's this, like I said, the weird language stuff that makes me think almost like the author's first language may not be English, kind of sticks out to me. And like Ira showing up as a wizard, but only in like the last 3 pages.
So weird.
It's like there's literally no reference to that at all anywhere other than that part. It's like something like that. If you want to do a twist that big, maybe set it up some earlier on. And yes, like I couldn't get over Unclean Brian. I still can't get over it.
But no, there like there's some fun things in there, and like if you're a Silent Night Deadly Night fan, you know, you'll read it and you'll notice all the things that Jeff and I noticed, and maybe notice things we didn't notice. Like,
but there, I mean, there's some. You could have made our Unclean Brian be the ultimate bad guy instead of this Ira wizard thing. Because I thought initially what they were trying to set up with the Vegas kid being adopted by him or whatever is that he's like abusing him or whatever. Like he was abused at the orphanage by Mother Superior. Mm-hmm. I thought maybe Vegas might end up turning on him or something like that. Kind of like Billy Snaps in the original.
No, I think we literally get a line where like, well, we know Vegas is okay.
Yeah.
And like, all right, that's okay.
Yes.
That's the end of that story in issue 4.
Well, and it's like, it doesn't make any sense either because Vegas never left the building. He ran to help when he saw that they were fighting or whatever, Billy and Brian.
Yep.
And so it's like he would have died in the explosion.
Right.
Because only Billy, in his new supernatural form or whatever, could have survived that explosion in the first place. I still don't understand how Parker and Prudence survived.
Yeah, I don't either. It's other than plot armor.
Yeah.
Like, but no, like it's worth checking out if you're a Silent Night Deadly Night fan. But if you're just a Christmas horror movie fan, maybe only even care about if you like the Silent Night Deadly Night franchise, check this out.
Yeah.
If you just like Silent Night Deadly Night, the first movie,
Don't.
Probably not worth reading.
Yeah, I wouldn't because this warps, basically it's like we've been referencing through the whole thing. It warps Billy into Michael Myers, essentially.
Yeah, but also aware Krampus.
As I say, he's a supernatural killer now. He can't be harmed by conventional means. Like, an explosion that would have killed him, blasted by shotguns, regular guns, smacked in the face with a baseball bat, does nothing to him. The ability to punch somebody in the face and have his face actually disintegrate.
And his eyeballs just fly around.
Yes, and the stomping that guy's head. It's like, yeah, so...
I know you said Halloween. It made me, because Billy was dressed as the Santa Claus, it made me think of Christmas Bloody Christmas. The robot Santa crushes a dude's head in that movie.
Mm.
I can't wait till we get to that movie on the podcast. Someday.
Perhaps it will be soon.
Someday soon. Or much later. Who knows?
5 years from now.
All right. We'll move on to, like I said, 2023's Silent Night, Deadly Night, Killer Santa. Also put out by American Mythology. This one is written by Glenn Moan, but the art and colors are still by Puis Calzada and Emmanuel Ordaz, and then the letters in this one are by Rob Jones. I did think the lettering was a little better in this one. There was some real weird lettering in the 4-part miniseries.
I agree.
I thought the lettering looked a lot better. There were some weird like perspective issues with the lettering. I think like where they almost like put like word art or like a computer font on like a sign, but they didn't account for the fact that the sign was drawn at kind of an angle, so it made like the words look really weird on the sign.
Yeah. No. Honestly, just to start this discussion off, I think this is just better. Because we were talking a little bit before we started recording about what we thought of it or whatever. And I don't think this is just a better sequel than the other 4-issue thing or a better entry into the universe. I think it's just better overall.
Oh, I think it's a much better written comic.
The storytelling is better, I think. I mean, like you said, the lettering's more consistent. I thought the art was just as good, if not better, in some spots than the 4-part series.
I went a year to work on it, I guess. But yeah, so we basically get the story of the Killer Santa from the original movie. In this one, he has a different name than Jimmy Florence. Let me pull it up here real fast.
I can see if I can grab my notes, too.
Ugh. Gotta grab my comics. Which, for whatever reason, I put behind the microphone.
Yes, I do not have the physical comics.
Yeah, this one was hard to find. I was able to find Jeff physical copies of the other 4, but the Killer Santa was hard to find.
I know because the variant I read online had an alternate cover that was actually a still from the movie. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh,
one.
cool. So the guy's name is Oscar Murphy. So it starts off with him basically hearing about the events that happened in the original movie. Billy killing all those people, and he's kind of talking to himself, and he's like, I put on a Santa costume one time and committed some murders.
Let me flash back to 1984, Jay.
And basically he's like, I live with that every day as it hangs up in his closet, the bloody Santa suit from the beginning of the first movie.
Also, quick note before we get started. He lives with that every day based on some of the other stuff he does in this.
Right.
It's so that's what sticks out to you as especially bad, huh?
So we start off, it's 1971. He's basically, he's a carjacker for the local Utah mob.
Yes, he was heavy into gang activity, apparently, dating a hooker.
Yeah, and she at one point there was some miscommunication between her and a guy she was servicing and her pimp or whatever.
Her boss ends up beating her ass, basically.
Yeah, and so he takes issue with that since it's his girlfriend, and beats the dude senseless with a baseball bat, killing him. Which this then gets reported back to the mob boss, and he's basically told
you're in my debt now.
Yep, you took away one of my sources of income, you owe me. Which leads to him basically he's now working for free as he's jacking all these cars, and he gets drunk, drunk driving, hits a mall Santa leaving a store, killing the guy. He then dons the costume, and that's when the events of the original movie take place.
Well, and when he dons the costume, it's almost like the costume possesses him or something.
Yeah, he keeps talking about how it gave him these new almost yeah, I know he does say possessed, but how it kind of gives him this newfound freedom.
Apparently, being in the bloody Santa suit lets you be yourself, Jay.
And so it's the events of the original movie. He then confesses to his girlfriend about what happened, and she kind of disowns him over the whole situation. And so he kind of falls back into despair. But they never track him down for the crimes because they can't find the Santa. I
guess, which seems weird because there's so many witnesses to these crimes they show him committing.
So he gets basically told by the mob boss, hey, you got what, if you go take care of this one guy for me, I'll consider your debt wiped clean and you can start working again.
Wipe the slate clean.
And so he goes to kill the guy. His gun jams.
Damn.
Or is not loaded. It's unclear.
I think it misfires.
And the guy who was in his garage picks up a wrench and beats him with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he gets arrested for attempted murder, and he's going to serve 20 years unless he can, help them solve some other cases.
Mm-hmm.
So he pins it all on the mob boss, gets placed in witness-free location.
Oh, and in between these things happening, by the way, he, for some reason, which I'm not quite clear on, confesses all the Santa murders to his girlfriend.
Yeah, he told her about it, and that's when she kind of leaves him or whatever.
But it's why would you confess all that stuff?
So he goes to New Mexico, and the mob boss doesn't last very long in prison, and so he's able to kind of go back to Utah, settles down, finds a wife, they get married in 1987. She passes away in 2004 of cancer. And then in 2007, the cops bust a prostitution ring. And the madame of the prostitution ring was his old girlfriend, who basically is well, I can now, to get herself a lenient sentence, I'm going to tell you who committed those Santa Claus murders all those years ago.
She flips on him.
And so the cops go to confront him, and he puts on the Santa suit, and suddenly he's back possessed by the powers of this suit and starts killing all the cops, and it's this great shootout kind of battle through his house. And he tries to escape, but gets shot a couple times and winds up falling to the ground.
But we'll find out he's not so dissimilar from a Krampus himself, Jay.
Yep. As he's laying in a hospital bed, wrapped in comedically.
He's in traction like you are, and after you take a fall down the stairs in a comedy movie.
Yeah, he's just the comedic amounts of casts and stuff, and he's in a coma, and then his eyes open up.
Yes, even though he was shot 9 times.
And then we get a end question mark.
Oh boy, you had me up till that, honestly.
Yeah. But no, I think this one was a lot. I like we were saying, this one was a lot better story.
Yes.
It's a neat take on the prologue or a prequel of who that Killer Santa was.
Well, it's like a prequel and then also a sequel because some of it takes place after the events. But yeah, it's just it fits in better. It feels more like a Silent Night, Deadly Night thing than the later issues of the other thing do.
No, absolutely. This one certainly feels more like. I still don't know that necessarily this would be my canon for Silent Night, Deadly Night. I rather just it's just a cruel guy who went and killed some people dressed as Santa Claus. But like this is at least kind of a neat take and kind of ties it back around.
Yeah,
and I think this would certainly be a stronger recommendation than the 4-part miniseries.
Yeah, I would say if you're a fan of Silent Night, Deadly Night, definitely read this. Yeah, like Jay said, you may not agree with all the choices made in it or whatever, but it feels like it's in the universe of Silent Night, Deadly Night versus like trying to make its own thing.
Yep. Certainly not in a town called Eggnog, Utah,
Yes.
which was certainly a weird choice.
Well, Jay, it could be taking place in Eggnog, Utah. You never know.
Yeah, they never named the town, but hopefully not.
But no, I agree. I would recommend. Even if you're not that interested in Christmas horror or anything, it's still a solid read.
Yeah. No, let us know what you thought of this episode. Let us know. We've got other Christmas horror books, comics, things we can talk about for stocking stuffer episodes. Let us know what you think. We'll, I've got a large set of stuff to work our way through. So
Hold on now, Jay. You didn't think you were getting out of here that easy, did you?
oh shit.
I got to spring a surprise question on you.
Okay.
Well, it's actually a series of 10 questions, also known as a quiz.
Oh no.
It's a Christmas horror quiz, Jay.
All right.
And it's been labeled the hardest one on the internet.
Oh shit.
Even though I looked through the questions and I knew like 4 of them, so it can't be the hardest quiz on the internet because I'm not that big into Christmas horror like you are. Jay's seen so many of these. I'm sure he's going to do pretty good on this. All right, number 1. Which Christmas horror film is considered by many to be the first modern slasher?
Oh, Black Christmas.
Yes, correct. What traumatic event sets off Billy's murderous rampage in Silent Night, Deadly Night?
We could either say, the murder of his parents all those years ago by the Killer Santa Claus, or him being forced to dress as Santa Claus.
Seeing his parents killed by Santa Claus was the correct answer. This is one I did not get because we have not watched this yet.
Okay.
Which Home Alone trap is recreated with fatal results by the villain in Better Watch Out?
Oh, the paint trap.
Yes. See, I knew Jay would know this stuff. How did Kate Behringer's father die in Gremlins?
He got trapped in the chimney dressed as Santa Claus.
Indeed, sir. That was one I knew. What does Max do to summon Krampus in Krampus?
He rips up his letter to Santa Claus and basically kind of gets mad at everybody at the party.
Yes. Tears up his letter to Santa.
Yep.
What was the name of the Christmas-themed horror segment in Tales from the Crypt, 1972?
Oh shit! I want to say I know this. I want to say it's And All Through the House.
Correct.
Okay. I have a shirt of that creepy Santa.
Now, this is another one I did not know. You may know. How does the killer gingerbread man come to be in The Ginger Dead Man, 2005?
All right, so, random aside, I don't know that Ginger Dead... I watched it for the Joe Bob special this year. This past year. I did not think it was very Christmassy other than the fact that he's a gingerbread man. There was nothing else to me that screamed Christmas in that movie. I believe someone bled into some dough that maybe had voodoo magic with his soul trapped inside or something.
Reincarnated with the soul of a convicted killer, which when I read that, I was like, so they just ripped off Chucky then?
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. But there's something to do with the flour that they are given or the gingerbread, the gingerbread dough that they are given that also has maybe his soul in it, but then also someone gets pricked by a knife, and I think that awakens it. It's really strange.
All right. What was the name of the main villain in Violent Night, which Jay has now finally seen?
Oh man,
it's a Christmas name, one you would easily expect.
Oh shit, was it Kringle?
Scrooge.
Oh yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
He's Mr. Scrooge.
That's
leader of
right.
the thieves.
Yeah.
All right. What is the profession of the killer Santa Claus in Silent Night 2012?
Oh, he's a chimney sweep.
Yes. I see. I saw the multiple choice for that one, and I guessed chimney sweep, and it was correct because I have not seen that one. Who plays the matriarch of the family who is tormented in Red Christmas?
D. Wallace.
Correct. So see, I knew Jay was going to do fine on this quiz.
Yeah, better than the last one, certainly.
Well, you had a little bit of a handicap on that last one. I think you would have done better on the last one if you weren't so drunk.
Oh, but yeah, that was a pretty good quiz.
But I'm gonna find more quizzes for more stocking stuffers.
Yeah, I
so
think that's
stay on your toes, Jay.
I think that's a fun format to add to this. But yeah, certainly let us know what you think of this format in general. Things you would like us to check out. Like I said, we've got a ton of stuff on the shelf behind Jeff.
Indeed.
Bunch of different books. Still a ton of comics to get through. I would love to talk about The Deviant once that wraps up. That's been one of my favorite comics in years. So like maybe we'll talk about that when that wraps up, and we can talk about that. That's a killer Christmas story.
All right, Jay, we got to tease our next movie. We promised the people.
Oh yeah, so our next movie will be Two Front Teeth. 2005?
Yes.
Release.
All I saw from the description after Jay told me what we were watching was Vampire Santa.
Yeah, so we'll check out Two Front Teeth, and we'll be with that. We'll bring you that episode next week. In the meantime, get in touch with us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit the bell, youtube.com/horror for the holidays.
Send us an email for a Garbage Day segment, horrorfortheholidays@gmail.com.
It's Garbin' time.
It's Garbin' time. Yeah, title your email that, maybe. I don't know.
Or Trash Day.
we got a nice comment from someone on or DM from someone on Twitter. So all sorts of people reaching out. We were getting new subscribers. All sorts of fun stuff.
I believe you mean we got a message from someone on X.
We did that as well.
X.
But yeah, otherwise we'll see you next week for Two Front Teeth.
Indeed.
Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.